my free uni tokens I converted and staked HEX is still up to 3,000. Nice, dude. Matty is connected. All right, let's go rate him, guys. Go and show him your support. Matty Allen, he's a cool dude. He got us all those cameos. He's the one that did all those cameos for us. So yeah, call him Matty Allen. What you gotta do, Matty? What is going on? Why can't I find him? Let's see. Refresh. Make sure that it's working. Control F5. Sorry, Matty. Allen.
Oh, you're good, Hex.
There we go.
I know you can't hear me, but
hopefully you guys had a great day. Hopefully you got everything you wanted in the Adoption Fire. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of the evening. Go and support Matty Allen and call him Matty Allen. Take care, guys. Matty Allen.
all right, excellent. Can everybody see me and hear me? Hey, how's it going? Awesome. Here we go. In show business, they say break a leg. I don't plan on breaking anything tonight except news stories and breaking news. The title of our first episode of HEXTherapy.Live is 3G Crypto HEX Fixes Mental Health, Curing the Curse of Centralized Money. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm your host, Matty Allen, all in. I'm OG HEX since launch, and I'm a substance abuse counselor and mental health professional. I've performed about 11,000 hours of therapy to date. This hour will not be one of those hours. This is not financial, medical, or therapy advice. We're just talking about crypto and using free speech to say what makes us mentally healthy. I would like to thank Hexologists. Your hard work and charm are inspiring. And thank you for saying all the ways to say my name. There's no right way, and I've been called worse. Richard, wow. For those who don't know, I hired celebrities to thank Richard Hart for creating HEX. We got Lindsay Lohan, Miss America, the 55th president of Mexico, and of course, Kevin from The Office, who all did shout outs. The content is very educational and focuses on HEX. You can see more at hexbids.com. Now, don't invest based on celebrity shoutouts. That's good advice from the SEC. HEX is not a security as reviewed elsewhere. If you have any questions about HEX, there's a team of volunteers working around the clock at t.me/HEX crypto. Richard hasn't just made our community rich, his vision is greater. He wants humans to work on life extension for all. He is a genius. Listen to his hours of YouTube streams. Richard and HEX have taught me more about psychology than my master's degree in psychology. How many billionaires do you know who will read your questions live on YouTube for 6 hours at a time? So often, or ever. And have better answers than mainstream experts. HEX is special. Richard is special. Hard stop. Without any further ado, I'm delighted and honored to welcome our first guest to HEXTherapy.Live, Joe Hexotic.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Hexotic. I'm here to tell my story tonight. I'm the guy who Richard tweeted "Nice Throne," as you guys can see. Maddie and I met in a chat last week at Discourse Syndicate. And shout out to RG3.
Awesome. Let's see here. So, Joe, so you've gone from a cursed life to a life full of hope. You shared your story with me, and I think it's powerful, and I think it could help other people. First, can we go over some of the new ideas and context that our viewers will need in order to further appreciate your story?
Yeah, the Medium article.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Okay, so I wrote this. It's not published yet. I'm super excited to share it with you. I've been working on this idea of how to combine mental health and crypto for about 3 years now. And I always thought Bitcoin would be the one to do it. But as you can see by the picture of the light bulb burning out and Bitcoin burning all the energy in the world, I think we need a better solution than that. And so I'm super excited to share this idea with you, and then to illustrate it through the story of Joe Hexotic. So forgive me as I read, but I wrote this super well, I think. So I'm excited to read it to you, and then we'll have a discussion. So here the title says, 3G crypto HEX fixes mental health, curing the curse of centralized currency. The invention of 3G crypto. Inventions can catch you by surprise. The wheel was first invented for pottery 300 years before its best use case, transportation. That's right. Imagine waiting 3 centuries for the invention of 2G wheels, the kind of wheels that don't just make bowls. Then suddenly, wheels are carrying humans to places they never thought possible. Inventions take time to fully emerge. At first, few knew the internet went beyond email, its first app. People thought email was the internet, just an electronic letter-making process. It's not obvious just how bad money has gotten until you grasp the vastly superior invention of HEX, what I'll call the 3rd generation cryptocurrency, 3G crypto. Just like the wheel was mistaken for a bowl maker and the internet for an e-letter, 1st generation crypto, Bitcoin, is still mistaken as the best digital money. And as even the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, recognized last month, the dollar is near the end of its term limit as the world reserve currency, which is a status that some believe is winner take all. 3G crypto, known as HEX, is not only better money than Bitcoin or paper, it will also enable a new function of money, paying yourself for habitual wellness. The greatest effect size in all of psychological research is contingency management, where clients are paid to control bad habits, such as substance abuse. 3G crypto supports building a network of abundant mental health atop the most revolutionary money ever to exist, HEX. Mental health is crypto's killer app. I'll read one more section here for you. 3G crypto goes beyond currency. This year, iPhone gets 5G, aka 5th generation signal technology. The best part? 5G phones will be awesome without you even knowing exactly how 5G works. This is also the year that crypto will start to go beyond currency. HEX, as 3rd generation 3G crypto, is superior to both Bitcoin 1G and Ethereum 2G. As a mental health therapist by day, who is building connections with individuals in crypto who are not my clients, I mirror what other users of HEX are feeling. Healthy. How healthy? Much more than you'd expect from several thousand people who are now worth billions. Usually, earning money comes at a great cost. However, HEX improves mental health because it monetizes delayed gratification. Its users can commit to save their economic energy for up to 15 years going forward. There's no undo button, which feels actually much safer than it sounds. Users of HEX lose their principal if they break a time lock called stakes, but earn 34% variable APY on staked coins. Users can't go back on their saving plan until at least half of the promised time is served. HEX allows users to not only save, but also make immutable commitments to themselves. Never mind the fact that cryptos like Bitcoin have the highest appreciating asset, are the highest appreciating asset class in human history, achieving a 1.3 million X return on each dollar invested a decade ago. Even more Bitcoin billionaires would have been created if they could have time locked for 15 years or less, like in HEX. When combined with contingency management, 3G crypto HEX will allow viral mental health, making self-control and motivation easy and fun, like a game. Thus, HEX will gamify and provide the programmable money infrastructure for digital behavioral medicine. As more people catch on to the genius of 3G crypto HEX, those in the community for the past year are busy building future utilities for all people. Today, we explore the evidence of how HEX coincidentally saved one man's life by changing the game theory running through his mind and canceling his suicide plan. The HEX community stands proud of Joe's incredible story. Here we discover a case in point of the larger plot twist. Crypto's noble use case is improving mental health, not just money. HEXTherapy.Live premieres Thursdays after The Hexologist, a nightly show starting at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Signal your self-care by joining the HEX Therapy Live community as we discover how to program mental health into money, making both better for all. HEX Therapy tributes taking crypto beyond its current role as future money because HEX unexpectedly gives us hope and healing today. The first episode will feature the full story of a man who cancels his plan to commit suicide while finding HEX and time locking his money for 15 years, earning him not only extraordinary compound interest, but also the peace of mind he deserves. Don't miss out on the free bag of inspiration that Joe's story fills you with. We love free bags, don't we?
Right?
Yes. It's simple. Dollars punish savings and HEX rewards saving. And seen.
Very well done, Manny.
Thank you.
You want to get into the story, or?
Yeah. So, but as we may or may not have planned ahead of time, are you comfortable walking us through your life in the following narrative format of high point, low point, and turning point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Awesome.
So the high point of my life was in 2015, not too long ago. I had been the general manager of a company in which there was under 50 employees, and I was making six figures. I just got engaged, got married. We got pregnant on our honeymoon, so that was really beautiful. I married my best. Yeah, I married my best friend too. We went to high school together, and been together on and off over the past 20 years, and reunited in 2015 and decided to get married. We had a beautiful wedding, and we went down to Disney World for our honeymoon, and then we had our daughter. So while we were pregnant, we bought our first house. So we had, I had a secure job. I had the proverbial two Cadillacs in the driveway. I don't love saying the names of the cars. When people say what they have, I find it ostentatious, but
okay.
it is relevant to the story. It's what I thought success was, right? So I was married, had our daughter. We had two cats, a dog, a beautiful home, and two beautiful cars in the driveway. And so, that was what I thought was making it at the time. So that I would say was the high point.
Okay. And now, can you start to walk us through the low point that you've had in your life?
Yeah. About a year and a half ago, I was in a car accident. I have a substance abuse and alcohol. I'm an alcoholic. So in 2019, I chose to drink, and I had left my job. I had left that high paying job. I looked for something a little bit more conducive to being at home with my family and a little bit less stressful. And it was actually the day that I quit my job without a backup plan that I found out that my wife was pregnant. So we were going to have
A second time?
Yeah, second time. So we were going to have our second baby. And I had 9 months to figure it out. So I got a job that was not as high paying. It was a lot more hours, and I got to see my family a lot less. So I worked there for about a year and a half, and things didn't go my way. One night I was going to get a promotion, so I thought. I didn't get it, and I took the news, terribly. So I went out and I drank. I had not been drinking regularly, and if I was, I had been hiding it. So I went out that night and I drank, and then I ended up crashing my car. I OD'd on fentanyl, and I crashed my car into an electrical box, and I died. Thankfully, I was revived, and I suffered a traumatic brain injury. So I have a TBI that gives me memory loss, short-term memory loss. I'm much better now. It's been a while, and I sought treatment. So after the accident, I didn't really know how bad my memory was. A couple months had gone by. I returned to work, and my boss pulled me aside, and he said, Joe, you're not the same. I want to talk to you man to man, nothing to do about work, but as a father and as a friend, I'd like you to go, back to your neurologist and talk to him and find out maybe is something wrong. So I took a short-term disability leave from work. I believe in October of 2019, so a couple months after the accident, and I started to pursue help on my own. And I was adamant about getting good help. I had a therapist at the time that I would go to regularly to help me. He was a great man, and I just absolutely loved him. And he recommended this one facility because his daughters had gone there. His two daughters, who have since grown up, become therapists themselves. So I had a lot. Yeah, it was really cool. I was looking forward to getting the best help available. I had great insurance because I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I thought that it would be no problem to get the help that I needed. So my wife and I started to pursue that particular facility to try to get me in there. Unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't suicidal and I wasn't homicidal. So they wouldn't allow me to come in because there's a lot of people out there that need help to a higher degree. And so I did what I could. I attended an intensive outpatient program with behavioral group therapy, which I really enjoyed. I really took to it, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I was always still trying to get into that first place, though. So while I was there, I was exploring what my other options were through my insurance, and I ended up going from the IOP to an adult partial hospitalization program, an APHP. And I did very well there too. I enjoyed that. Loved every minute of it. And when I got out of the whole time that I was going there, I was seeing my neurologist, who's also a psychiatrist. So I wasn't jumping from place to place and having my medications mixed up. I was under the care of my doctor, who suggested that because of my brain injury, I take a small dose of a particular medication that you're not supposed to drink alcohol with. And I failed to share the information with him that I was an alcoholic. So this was December of 2019. I was being treated by a neurologist, a psychiatrist, the same guy. He had me on a cocktail of medications, some of which were familiar to me, others were brand new. I was at a medical marijuana card from the state, and I was even I even began ketamine treatment, Spravato. So I was on quite a mixture of heavy medications. And what I did was, as an alcoholic, my sober mind is dangerous as an untreated alcoholic. Today, I've been in a 12-step program now for a long time, but back then I was untreated. I didn't have good help. I didn't know where to go. And my thinking got me into a lot of trouble. I made the decision, my mind, my sober mind made the decision to go out and to drink. And when I did that in December of 2019, I ended up becoming suicidal. I blacked out and I was making suicidal threats by text to my wife. And I'm sure, obviously very concerning for everyone in our family. And I was shortly hospitalized, shortly after that, hospitalized against my will, essentially. And thankfully so, that started the road to good health. But still as a part of my, hitting bottom, my ego is so big, and I didn't admit that I was an alcoholic. I had been in and out of the 12-step programs for a long time. And when I would go there, I would see other people and I would think, wow, how much smarter I am, how much better off I have it. I can figure this out. I can drink less, perhaps only on the weekends, maybe just on vacation, you name it. And I tried it, and what I have ever failed to do is just simply admit that I was an alcoholic and be willing to accept the help of those who had succeeded. And so, in January of 2020, I drank again while on that same medication. And what it does is you black out pretty easy with the mixture. And instead of homicidal, I became concerning for my family as well. And I was arrested under the similar circumstances of last time, except instead of going to the hospital, this time I went to jail. So, at the time it was pretty outrageous. It was all the things started to fall apart. It was one door closing and another one opening for me. And as a mental health professional, as a substance abuse counselor, Maddie, I'm sure this is, nothing new for you. You have experience in all of this.
Yeah. And one of the ideas that doesn't get enough press or isn't widely known really is that substance abuse is not your fault, right? And that's not really the way that our society handles it, especially the criminal justice system, right? I mean, Richard has said before on stream that the criminal justice system doesn't scale, right? And so we need different solutions for mental health other than punishment, right? We all know that rewards work better than punishments, right? Certainly. And people who struggle with addiction, right, are oftentimes victims of their own environment, right? And so to support this idea that substance abuse is not your fault, right? Because most people who experience substance abuse do say it's their fault because that's their locus of control, right? Like that's how they take control of things is because if it is your fault, then you can control it in the future, type of thing. But there are other ways to think about our behavior change other than from a point of view of guilt, because because when we take more of like a DBT approach, so we say that everybody's doing their best, even when their best isn't good enough. And so instead of using our energy for guilt, we can use our energy to get better skills. And so you can have acceptance and change at the same time. When you accept that you're doing your best, so you accept yourself, and you also hold yourself to change by saying that you still need more skills to do better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was learning those skills. So
yes,
it makes total sense. Absolutely.
Another point I'll make is that in 2016, the Surgeon General made an announcement, like a landmark report, course, most people know the Surgeon General, right, from like cigarette packaging, saying that smoking is bad. But the Surgeon General made an announcement in 2016 saying that addiction is not the individual's fault, and wrote a report about that, and even mentioned that, wow, this is going to take a while for people to understand and for people to wrap their heads around and for our society to adjust, right? And so as we're looking for things that scale, that can help people to change their behavior on their own and be healthier, one of the things we find is HEX, right? And so I think we need to build mental health on top of HEX, because we know that contingency management works. We know that paying people to have healthier habits works. I worked in a neuroscience laboratory for 7 years, where we paid people $1,000 to quit smoking. And that wasn't what we were studying, but that's how we knew we could get the job done to keep people in the study and not have a dropout bias. But the thing that fascinates me, and I'm an ex-smoker myself, is that people can't pay themselves to quit smoking, even though they spend thousands of dollars, and many want to quit. But somebody else paying you $1,000 to quit smoking does create internal motivation. And so what we're missing here is the function of money that never existed with paper money, where you can pay yourself like you do in HEX. You pay yourself to have delayed gratification, right? And to save for the future. Well, you could pay yourself for other behaviors too, I believe, and you're going to need a currency to do that in, and it's going to be HEX. HEX stands out, and we can discuss this and come back to it, but HEX is different because it's different than Bitcoin, because it's immutable and it's scarce. And so we'll be able to back that up with facts and discussion. But Joe, back to your low point, was it a double dip?
Yeah, it was. In January, I started substance abuse treatment. I wasn't living at home at the time. I was still employed, and I was doing great. I thankfully got some really good help through the 12-step program, through a fellowship, and I began the journey that I'm still on today. While I was getting sober, I learned so much. I had so much strength. I started to find God and find, as my higher power. And I started to seek out people who also had God in their lives. And I spent all of my time helping other fellow alcoholics. And it was really a beautiful time back in January, February. And I remember somebody very close to me saying, you haven't lost the trifecta, the Holy Trinity. You still have your house, your job, and your family. And I thought, as just coming new into spirituality and being in sobriety, I thought, please don't test me any more than I already am. I don't need to lose anything else. Like I'm here, I'm sober, I'm willing. I accept the help, and I'll do anything to remain sober and to get back to my, the best self that I could be.
You really wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. More than anything in the world, and at the time, it's amazing how faith works, because, it's easy to have faith when things are going great. It's difficult to maintain that faith in times of turbulence. It's really difficult sometimes. And what ended up happening is my work found out about my arrest, and I was let go from the company. So my employment, my income stopped. My bills certainly didn't. Having a credit card debt, one less car now because I totaled the other one. Living outside of my home, basically starting to be alone and isolate. I started to essentially plan bankruptcy and to plan to lose my house or sell it quickly, or maybe even have to short sale it because we'd only been there for a short period of time. So it wasn't long before, you know, COVID started to hit. So it started to come around, and right at that time, the additional stress of that sort of propelled my family. You know, it blew us apart in a sense. My wife ended up taking the girls and moving to another state. I was, you know, still unemployed, living outside of my home and trying to figure out, you know, what was next. And then the lockdown happened. So, you know, all of a sudden I was, you know, really in isolation.
Joe, you cut out. Looks like the stream froze, and I can give you a call here. Please stand by while we fix these technical difficulties. I think we both put our phones on Do Not Disturb, so I hope he realizes.
Hey, I'm just having an internet connection problem. It should be fixed in a second.
Oh, no problem.
It'll take a couple minutes, man.
Sure, I'm gonna go ahead and shill my giveaway.
Okay, awesome.
And I think we paused at a perfect point to keep everybody engaged. So, hello all. Thank you for joining us. We're covering some really important things here. And while we do that, I want to announce that we'll do a giveaway at the end of the stream. If you make it all the way to the end of the stream, we would love to give away one of the HEX T-Share coin frames. So let me bring it up here on the screen for you. So we will give away one of these. It is a method I came up with to put HEX onto a physical coin. Not very secure, so you're not going to put all your HEX on there, but it's a novelty, and it allows you to show off the whole idea of HEX in one simple glance, because crypto, 3G crypto HEX is greater than fiat, which is best illustrated here with real currency from Zimbabwe that was printed at the same time that Bitcoin was being created, 2007 to 2008. The $100 trillion bill was printed in the same currency run as a 1 cent bill. And so that's a perfect example of hyperinflation. Now, we know that the US dollar probably inflates the least, and still it's out of control. The US dollar punishes saving because over about 15 years, you lose half of your purchasing power, right? To inflation. And I could go on and on about the Cantillon effect and all sorts of things, but we'll hold off, and I'll just shill this for a second. Don't put all your money on here. It's a security risk. I made one. You know, I put $1,000 of HEX on there. I wouldn't recommend that, but it's fun. It's really fun to hold HEX, to have like a concrete thing. So I will give one of these away. I got it right here. I'll ship it to you. Stick around, subscribe. I think that's how we're going to do the giveaway. You have to be subscribed to something. Here's an example of the frame. It's a beautiful floating frame. This one's got a Bitcoin in it, but yours will have a empty Ethereum wallet. And then you can stick this to the wall. It's got something where you can just take it on and off the wall. You can set it on your desk and it'll sit there. So I put a lot of effort into this. I hope, if anybody wants to order one, you can pay in Hex, send me a message, t.me/Maddie all in. You could go to allmylinks.com/all-in and find all my links there, as is suggested by the name. Joe, how's your internet going there?
It's coming. I'm almost there. It's
perfect.
Totally set. I should be on in a couple
It's almost like we planned this, right? Like we did not plan this, but we're good. So what is a T-share, right? So a T-share is your share of the future compound interest in Hex. And so Hex really gamifies saving, right? And so not only has Hex gone up 50 or 100 or 200 times its value, and not only does time locking your money and not being able to squander it, right? That has a positive effect on human health, we believe. But then there's the more levels to the game, right? And so there's an app you can get, and it'll tell you what league you're in. And so you collect T-shares and get achievements. And so in the future, both saving for the future and doing mentally healthy behaviors will be just a tap away in an app, and you'll be able to unlock different digital badges, right? As you unlock value that's created both through having money, probably, right? Like Hex will be money in the future. It may be the world reserve currency, or it may be aside. Well, no, I mean, not financial advice, but Hex will be the world reserve currency because the hardest money always wins. And the hardest money is the money that doesn't get printed ad infinitum, right? The hardest money used to be gold. That was a pretty good system, except it wasn't, because gold is like heavy and people can show up and take it. But with crypto, I mean, if you wanted to be really good at remembering things and you remembered your 12-word seed phrase, then you could travel around the world, right? Like, and when there would be no physical thing that somebody could take from you, you'd have access to all your money that way. So crypto is the future in a lot of ways. It's extremely exciting. It sounds kind of complicated, but we're here to educate you. We're here to do our best and really to be excited about crypto. It can be more than money. I think crypto can be motivation. I think crypto can be self-control. I think there's going to be so many more levels to build on this. That's why I'm so excited to share this with the Hex community, because if we really think about Hex and what it is and what the community is, Richard rated all the smartest people in Bitcoin, right? And like all that's left in Bitcoin now are like people who really don't understand Bitcoin, and all the people who really understood Bitcoin, such as myself and other people in Hex, right? Like we switched to Hex because we understand what a Sybil attack is, right? Like if we go back to some of Richard's like greatest hits, many hours of streams, but he talked about Bitcoin could be Sybil attacked, and that makes a lot of sense, right? I've run a Bitcoin node before, and everybody's just clicking an exe file and deciding what Bitcoin is. And so Bitcoin is held together by social consensus. That isn't immutable. Andreas Antonopoulos, you know, like, he says the next Bitcoin is Bitcoin, but he also says Bitcoin is whatever the major cryptocurrency is. I mean, Hex is number 5 right now. It's being gate kept, so people who check the charts don't even see it. And it's like the best kept secret in crypto. I mean, I believe there's actually game theory stopping people from telling others about Hex. I know. Because the big payday is coming, because there's this big payout, and only after that will I believe people will be working extra hard to tell others, although we're doing it now and many are doing it now. But I think the critical mass hasn't gotten there yet. The critical mass isn't ready isn't all in yet.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Now let's jump back, because I love how this all relates, right?
I just had to go to the bathroom, Maddie. I didn't know how to do that, so I just had to pretend I had an internet connection problem. And
oh, that's so funny.
Everything's all set. I'm back.
Okay,
ready to
yeah,
rock,
let's switch back.
I apologize, everybody. I don't know what to say, but back to the story. We're talking about the double dip down, the hitting rock bottom, you know, and losing that trifecta, that holy trinity. My job, my family, my house. And so
yeah,
I had just gotten to COVID, right? The lockdown had just happened. And it was during that time, I was extremely worried about my finances, about my financial future, my family, my relationships. I was embarrassed and ashamed of the things that I had done. I was still working on getting my memory back and getting control over my emotions and my anger. Thankfully, I was sober, you know, during that time. I can't imagine if I hadn't found sobriety when lockdown happened. That would have been a real living nightmare. So, as the lockdown progressed, you know, at first it was supposed to be a couple of weeks, you know, then maybe even a month. Then it turned into 2 months, then 3, then 4. That whole time, my court case was delayed in the same manner. It was going to follow that same pattern, and I mentally was prepared at each one of those intervals to make it to the next little bit, until after a while it just felt like I was a rat running in a wheel in a cage. I was helpless. There wasn't much I could do, so I started to get really depressed, and through isolation,
you lost hope at that point.
Yeah, I had lost all hope for sure.
Yeah,
I felt like I was cursed. You know, I felt like if there was a God, he didn't like me, and he was out to get me. And so I began to lose all faith in everything, myself, you know, mostly. So as the summer progressed, my relationship with my family was really pretty much destroyed. And the absolute low point was, you know, essentially being homeless, living in my car, and, you know, deciding that I had come up with a plan. I was coming up with a suicidal plan because I was going to show everybody. I was going to show my wife, and, you know, I was in this much pain, and how could poor me, you know. And I was having my thinking was insane, because I was still, at the time of lockdown, I had dropped out of my fellowship. I had stopped pursuing the 12 steps. I was not in communication with the men that were helping me before.
Stinking thinking
is right. That's what I say all the time to those guys. So I wasn't taking care of myself. I was dry but not sober. And, you know, I don't have to be drinking to make a bad decision. My mind, my alcoholic thinking comes out when I'm sober. You know, the controlling of anger, the holding on to resentments. That's the worst. That's the catalyst to, you know, picking up a drink. And
yeah,
I'm grateful that I was able to not pick up a drink during that time. But what happened was I became truly suicidal. And it was, you know, one night in August, August 15th to be exact. And I found myself I'm not a gambler. I had recently, learned about day trading and traded some stocks while I was in isolation, but I'm not a gambler. I don't go to the casino, but I didn't know where else to stay. I had Googled where you can sleep in your car, for free, and it won't be illegal. And the choices are pretty limited. Besides a Walmart parking lot, there's the MGM driving, the parking facility. So my absolute low point, I discussed, and the turning point for me happened when I decided, I basically almost took my life on August 15th, and because I was sleeping in my car in the parking garage of the MGM, and I went out to go to the bathroom. I wasn't going to walk all the way inside, so I went out to kind of like look over, so nobody could see me in the corner of the parking garage, and I was up on the 7th or 8th floor, and I thought, wow, how easy this would all be. I don't have to follow through with my dirty, sticky plan. That's a lot of work. This could just end right now, and by the grace of God, I didn't follow through with it. Thank God. Thank God that I was given the strength to go back in my car and go to sleep for the night. You have any questions, Maddie, or you want me to keep going?
So at that low point, you were at the MGM, and then you didn't follow through, and you had said that you made your first stake in HEX 2 days later.
Yeah. So this is what.
As far as a turning point, what took you from being from planning suicide then to being interested in HEX?
Well, I believe it's God and God working through people and creating very intelligent people like Richard Hart, my friend Paul in particular, you, me, the way we all come together. This ride of life is wild, and you got to have faith, and I had lost it. So I'd say that the turning point for me was not taking my life that night, going back to the state that I'm from, and I got in touch with my childhood friend that I grew up with. He's a great man, but puts God first in his life, and asked me to go golf. He asked me to go golfing, and this was I think August 16th maybe, and I went out with him, and I had just purchased some, because I kind of skipped over a little bit when I mentioned it, but when I was in lockdown, I had taken the stimulus money, and decided that I was going to invest in the stock market, and I was going to, double my stack, and I was going to get rich. And I ended up buying a particular stock, and, I bought it when it was high, and then I watched it drop as almost every other stock went up during that time. So it was like the one I picked just went down, and it was difficult.
Stock market's rigged.
Yeah, stock market's rigged. I started to watch these patterns, right? And as a guy who loves numbers, signs, I started to see, I think I could, if I could buy in and out, even if I lost some money, I might be able to make some money back. So I got out of the stock I was in at a very big loss, and I started to spend 16 to 22 hours a day glued to the television, the news, going on my computer to figure out what the different markets were going to open at, talking to my friends that were involved. And I ended up being totally consumed by the idea of being able to trade. But as somebody who had a very weak hand, as anything started to drop, I would think it's going all the way to zero. I got to get out, So I didn't do very well in the stock market for a while. I started to get the hang of it. I started to make some money for short term. I built up a little bit of a bank, and then I wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out. I was going to, pay my bills. At that time, I had heard about cryptocurrency. I've known about Bitcoin since 2009, but other than the name and how to buy it, I didn't know anything more than that. So I think the guy that owns Barstool Sports,
David Portnoy.
David Portnoy had just made
very little about him, but
he just made a purchase of Chainlink and Ethereum, I believe. So I read a Forbes article because I was, trying to get all the information, because in stocks, if you can get the information first, you can you can buy it, you know, when it's low before it blows up. And, you know, I didn't understand everything. So I didn't understand.
So the Winklevi actually went, they went to his house. They're like neighbors, right? The twins that almost founded Facebook and sued Mark Zuckerberg. They took all their money from the Facebook suit of inventing Facebook, and they put it into Bitcoin, and now they're Bitcoin billionaires.
Right.
And they went to Portnoy's house, this guy who got really famous during the pandemic for day trading and like wrecking a bunch of people's lives and like doing it in a goofy way, right? They went to his house and gave the worst presentation I've ever seen about why he should buy Bitcoin. They were like talking about asteroids and gold being mined from them, and like that's why he needed to invest in a different, you know, like hard money or something. Right. It was terrible. And they do either people who work for them or they do a very good job of writing articles. So anyway, like, yeah, so you were exposed kind of like, you know, to this pandemic trend of day trading and this kind of culture that has developed in the pandemic of people kind of like losing hope, right? And then doing risky things, right?
Right.
And then it not working out, and you know, a lot of people have died because of that. Like you know, Robinhood traders who got exposed to leverage trades and got carried away. It's you know, it's really sad and alarming. So so you kind of cut through all the noise, or kind of the message of crypto found you, right? And so then you were turned on to Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then you're golfing with your friend after this. You've hit kind of rock bottom.
Yeah.
What's next?
Just a kind of funny side note, I didn't know you could buy a Bitcoin when I first got into it because, you know, I didn't have $11,000 at the time. So as a stock, you know, trader that I thought I was, when the price is a certain amount, I think you have to have that amount to buy it. So I remember putting my money into Coinbase and buying Ethereum and Chainlink, and then being like, someday I'm going to buy, you know, one of those. And then
or like, you know, why would some people even want part of a Bitcoin? You know, it's like not very satisfying, is it?
Right. So, you know, back to the actual story. My friend Paul, just, you know, I have a special connection with him, you know, just like you and I do, Maddie. You know, you can tell when you meet somebody and you really hit it off that, you know, you've been put into each other's lives for a reason. And, you know, I've known Paul almost my whole life. We played hockey as little boys together, and we talked about the cryptocurrency market, what I was doing with stocks. And he asked me, hey, do you know about Richard Hart and HEX? And I said, you know, no, absolutely. I've never heard of it. So that night, you know, I went home and I looked into what HEX was. Within the next 24 hours, I bought my first little bit. I bought about $150 worth of HEX, and, you know, I didn't have a MetaMask. I didn't know how to move money. I thought it was really scary to send off this digital currency up into thin air to this long numbered address and just hope that it pops into there, you know, and coming up with, you know, the MetaMask, you got to write down the seed phrase. And if you lose it, you lose all your money. And, you know, it's kind of like a game for me. Like I looked at the steps at go.hex.com, and, you know, it wasn't the most simple directions for me, although they are very simple now when I look back on it. So as I was going through it, I just took my time. I went through it. I felt very, you know, accomplished as I got there. I felt like it was like an IQ test for me to get in. And I ended up, you know, with my Ethereum, by the time that I wanted to finally get the HEX, the price of Ethereum had dropped down, you know, because of course when I buy something, the price is just dropping, you know, I buy it at the high. And so I made a 2 stakes on my first day. And you know, I watched a little bit on the website about what to do, and it's designed to be staked for up to 5,555 days. So that's what I did. I made my first 2 steaks. I would have done it in 1 steak if I could have realized that I shouldn't leave just a little bit of hex. So I have like a, $145 and then like a $5 steak that both go in on the same day and end on the same day. And I spent, money on gas to move it around, money to put it in, money to stake it. And I was like, wow, this is like, this is not easy for somebody that's brand new. So when I made that first steak, something was different. I didn't plan on being here before that for 5,555 days. It wasn't, it wasn't even a couple days ago that I was contemplating, ending my life. So it was pretty amazing to I didn't realize it at the time how powerful that the idea was. I wanted to stick around. I knew that I was getting in something at the ground floor, and I felt like I was at my bottom. I felt like I was cursed. And the name of this cryptocurrency that my friend Paul, who is, sent from God, a man of God, he, put this in my ear and I'm acting on it. I felt very fatalistic in buying it. And I thought it was a tongue-in-cheek name. Like, I am cursed. And then here's this cryptocurrency. And so I got involved with it, but it wasn't too long after my first stake, within the next 24 hours, because I'm the type of person that gets in something 100% or doesn't do it. I started to research. Right, all in, Maddie, all in. And I started to research Richard and watch his videos. And, that helped save my life. He's very inspirational. He's immutable is a great word that you and I have talked about with Richard. I have never seen anybody be able to shut him down in any way. He is so good and so knowledgeable and so confident. And the thing is, he reminds me, he looks a lot like one of my friends that I grew up with. So, it was this name Hex. When I was cursed at my bottom, Richard looks just like one of my best friends. He talks a lot like I do, and I just felt like, wow, this is a lot of different pieces coming together. This is a really good opportunity for me. And the more I learned about Hex and its community, I got all of my money that I could out of the stock market. I started to, liquidate some things that I didn't need at home. I was maybe going to lose my house anyways at the time. And I was lucky enough to get in, back when it was 0.003. And then I even watched it dip down to 0.0022. So, 50% of what I was able to purchase, I was able to purchase it at that price. And what got me is the daily interest, and I could start to see that, like, just because my money's sitting here and I'm not trading it in the stock market, I'm not doing frivolous things with it. Like I got rid of my medical marijuana card. I hadn't been drinking or doing drugs. So I did have a little bit of money to put in incrementally through. I had collected unemployment because of COVID. So I used some of that money. I didn't know if it was a good idea at the time. And I invested a little bit more, was able to buy at those, at the bottom as far as I was concerned, because I had just got in. And so it was so invigorating to realize that if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have these few dollars, these few $10, these few $100 as time started to go on, just from it sitting there. Never mind the price, going up, nothing to do with that, just the daily interest, and that was very rewarding for me. I felt like I did something good with my money, with my family's money. I thought it was the right thing to do for our future. And, it's the evidence is there now. Its mechanism is working. Its marketing worked as it was supposed to. That's how it got involved. I got involved with it. And then the idea is engineered so well that, you can't almost ever stop learning about it. Its game theory is very complex. The mechanisms that drive it are very well thought out, and it's working as planned. It's functioning as it's designed to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it functions better than it was designed to, and it was designed to function perfectly, right?
Right.
I really believe that we're discovering new uses for money. As I said before, the new function of money to pay yourself, to create value in your healthy behaviors. And I think we got a good start tonight of illustrating that, right? And talking about that, whether it's the example of somebody paying themselves $1,000, right, to quit smoking,
Right.
or whether it's, somebody simply committing to themselves going forward into the future. Somebody saying, well, maybe I do want to be alive for 5,555 days, right, in the future. And that is a pretty incredible thing when you've gone from really not being so sure that you'll be alive even a day in the future, right?
Yeah, Maddie, I went from not planning to live to living to plan, because of HEX. It's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary.
Yes. Wow. That's well put.
Thank you. It's something that I can get so excited about, creating this content with you, being a part of the show right now with you. I took long drives to Florida, even before that, back in the end of August and September. Like I was just trying to maintain my mental health, and by keeping busy. And Richard's videos, I would look forward to them so much. I consumed everything I could find. Every single day I was looking on YouTube by the upload date, seeing what was put up today. There's nothing today. All right, I'll check this past week again. And I watched everything. And when Hexo, and I stumbled onto Hexo's show, and then Discourse Syndicate, it's such a great community where people are experiencing the life-changing mechanism that is behind the time lock, the decentralized trustless time lock. And what does that do to somebody? What does it do when you're making the right choice and you're keeping faith in something, and that thing that you're keeping faith in is actually working as it's supposed to, and like you just said, even better. So to be able to now, create some content for the HEX community, it's a dream come true. I mean, the other night, you and I are doing a test run, and Richard Hart pops in as the first commenter and sees, my house, and makes a comment on the chair that I'm sitting in. I mean, that was surreal. The throne, yeah. It caught me by surprise.
He has a giant throne himself.
Yeah.
Which he sits on and gives away billions of dollars worth of tokens. So any compliment from the man is worth more than gold, for sure.
Yeah. and that's why this is a shirt that I love. This is one of my favorite shirts. I wear it probably once every other week, if not more.
I love that shirt.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, I've never watched a man dance more in my life than watching Richard Hart on Hexo's show, because of the intro. So this shirt is paying homage to Richard. And Richard, I can't thank you enough for the life-changing mechanism that you've put out there. You've helped me and so many other people. And I just wanted to put my testimony out there, put my face out in the community, and let everyone know that, I don't know how this whole thing works of life, but I know that once you find faith and you do the next right thing, and you surround yourself with good people, and you go with the signs, right? And that's what the marketing of HEX is. The marketing of HEX is based off of things that I'm interested in. Tesla's 369, Nikola Tesla's 369, the staking for 5555, days. I love repeating numbers, and I love 3.69, and I love the logo and what that represents, and the shading, and the easy to remember name. It's genius. And that's just the marketing. That's not what it actually does.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the surface, right?
Right.
And so one of the things that we'll do on this show is to help really take a deep dive into the game theory, and to help understand the human psychology of why hard money, right? Like, what even is hard money, but why does hard money cause people's behavior to improve, right? Without even building an app, to make people healthier, right? And to gamify mental health, to improve it, right? We're already seeing that members of the HEX community who are all in are having like health challenges, right? Like
Right.
Steph a month ago said, hey, everybody who wants to join me, we're going to do like 1 trillion push-ups, and we're going to run really far, really fast, like every day. And like, right, because that is part of taking care of yourself for the future. That's part of living for the future and saving money, but saving yourself, right? And working towards this better future. It's and it occurs to me as we're talking right now that maybe the majority of people in HEX are all in and they're already doing this, or maybe it will be in 2 weeks when people FOMO mental health, right?
Right.
It's fear of missing out, inside joke. So maybe I can read like a little bit. Just I may have already covered it, but we had made some show notes here, and I think we're covering everything really well. So I mean, from my perspective, I think it really is kind of ironic when you talk about how you felt like you were cursed, right? And then like here comes this word hex, right? The like an obscure meaning of it means to be cursed, but really it's not hex that's cursed. It's the fiat money system, right? That is driving poor mental health because it's punishing saving, right? Like
absolutely.
The negative interest rates are coming around the world, right? That means if you save money, they will charge you for it on top of inflation ruin. Like that's on top of inflation, right? Like taking away your purchasing power, taking away half of your savings every 15 years or so, right? And then that's on top of taxes, right? Which it's like people are being jacked up, right? By like government. And what does that go to pay for? War, right? Like the book that I'm gonna talk about a lot on this show is the Bitcoin Standard, which is a play on the gold standard. And it points out that like but there was no world war before there was fiat currency. They had to go off the gold standard because nobody was willing to give up their real money, their gold, to pay an army to go attack somebody else. That's how good people are by nature. This is already played out in the world. How good the world is a good place, right? When you have hard money. And so in order to fund World War I, they had to go off the gold standard. It was the same time, like 1918, they started to go off of it, right? And then they went back on, and they were going back and forth. But it's like, the more we talk about this, and the more we find these examples, it's really, I think, going to be incredibly exciting because at first glance, it sounds like, well, not that important or something. But I really believe that better money will change the world to be an even better place than it is now. Over 50% of the world's population lives on less than $2 a day. Now, granted, that $2 a day goes a lot farther in their economy to buy things. They can at least put enough calories on the table to not starve. And the world has never done better at decreasing starvation, but at the same time, we have this massive obliteration of the middle class, right? We have AI and other centralizing forces putting pressure on everyday people, and it doesn't end well if we don't opt in to a better system, which I believe people will do. I mean, I really believe that when people see cases like yours, right, where maybe HEX didn't do anything, right, like for your mental health, but it really is coincidental, and we already have evidence that hard money does improve behavior, and so whether it was the case for you or not, I think what we're going to find as HEX gains adoption is that there's just going to be an abundance of mental health, and people are going to see that and they're going to want that, even people who don't need money or something. And
yeah, absolutely. And it helped open up my mind. My friend Paul brought me HEX. He brought me to God, brought me to Bible study. I was getting treatment through my 12-step, and I started to have faith, and to have the fear of economic insecurity leave is huge. It's absolutely a monster burden to carry around. And to have hope and faith in a mechanism that I see work, and it's working tremendously already, and it's relieved my economic insecurity. And that in turn has allowed me to be more open to the signs that the world is giving me, and to realize that I'm here to help other people, and share my story. The mechanism of HEX and Richard Hart is a huge part of my recovery, and I wouldn't be anywhere without God and my family and my friends. But Richard kept me sane in a time when I was, insane. And I can't thank him enough. He didn't have to share all that information.
I have
with everybody.
chills. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I have chills.
when you've been educated, made it successfully, in quote unquote in America, the American dream. I like to be fed good information, and I've never come across anybody that can consistently feed me good information that I am so ready to consume than Richard.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, it sounds like hyperbole, right? When I said it earlier, like, listening to Richard on YouTube gave me more information about psychology than my master's degree in psychology, right?
Yeah.
And then after I said that, I said, go listen to Richard. He's a genius, right?
Right.
It's like, do it, right? Like it's the proof of genius is there. The proof of stake, the proof of work. It's all talking about how these systems work. It's incredible, and I love hearing from you how you're experiencing the same thing I am, and we're experiencing the same thing that other people are, right?
Right. Yeah. I was just gonna say that it's the community also on top of it. It's to see us come together in Hexo's show, in Discourse Syndicate show, us start talking to one another and seeing what people are doing. Taylor Kennedy, you, Maddie Allen, Brennan. There's everyone that's on Discourse Syndicate. Nobody has to do any of this. No one's getting paid to do any of it. And here we are giving up our time and passionately too. I mean, there's nothing I'd rather do than talk about God, talk about HEX, talk about how to make my family's life better. It's a wonderful community, and it's a creative community that's driving each other, because every time someone does something, it makes me feel like I need to contribute somehow, because this has changed my life in such a positive way that what can I do for the HEX community? What can I do to share this message? And so it's electric, it's magnetic, it's a beautiful environment to be in.
Volunteering FOMO.
Volunteer FOMO, right? And buy the dip, buy the dip.
Yeah. Wow. So we're gonna be here, and so there's this powerful community, right? Like what happens, right? The community is the smartest group of people in Bitcoin have moved to Hex, right? Richard rated Bitcoin's intelligence, right? Like just snagged the greatest minds. And so now, right, like you've got a bunch of smart people who are not going to have to work, right? Like for money, like aren't going to have to, what am I trying to say?
They can do whatever they want.
We can do whatever we want, right? And
right.
So that's why we're seeing such a vibrant community. That's why we're seeing people give back and have such positive messages and everything. It's really shocking how much potential there is here, because Hex is going to keep growing. This is just the beginning, and we've already got a group of people who are special and a project that probably helps make people a better version of themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I can attest to that. It's, you and I meeting the way we did, it's a special group of people. We came together, because of comments in a YouTube chat. So thank you, RG3 and Discourse Syndicate for allowing that venue, allowing Maddie and I to meet. And it's amazing how much in common you can have with somebody if you open up and get to know them. And I'm just very grateful to be your friend, Maddie. And
likewise,
it's been a great ride so far, and now to be able to create some content with you is really amazing. And just want to thank you very much.
I thank you very much as well. I told you last night when we were talking privately that, I need other people who are excited, right, to help structure my behavior, and I don't think I could do it without you and without the community. I mean, I know I couldn't, right? Like it's teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. And it's a creative community. I'm continuously blown away by the creative minds that are here. Not business minds, but there's some great business minds too. Don't get me wrong, but what a unique group of creators, is forming and emerging right now. And it's really, it's amazing that there's so much to learn, and there's people willing to help along the way. It's any question that you can have, there's resources to find out. And then in just, being yourself, and just me letting you know a little piece of my story. You reached out and said hello, and can we talk? And we started talking, and, now I have a great friend, and that's amazing. And it's because of the work that RG3 and Discourse Syndicate did. It's because of Richard Hart. It's this ripple effect that's happening based off of a community that people can truly get excited about. It's difficult.
I have goosebumps again.
What's that? Oh, goosebumps.
I said I have goosebumps again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It's just at the beginning too. There's so much
people
more.
People have put money down for the next 15 years, and we're going to be here in the community no matter what happens to the price of Hex. Okay. So that reminds me, we had a pre-scripted question that I wanted to ask you. Yeah. Yes. I wanted to ask you. So, really, I mean, what I'm seeing is, and hearing is that you have, through God, right, and through your sober network, and through your recovery skills, through your hard work, right, and through all of the work that you're putting in, right, like you don't appear to be going back to suicide. I mean, I work with a lot of people who have been to such a depth that you've been to, and it's like the speed that you came back from it. It's the how healthy you are now, right, and how involved you are in everything. How you've created this structure for yourself, to continue to get better. And so there's so many things that I think are very inspirational that you're doing, and very smart, and right, that give you a very good prognosis, right? Like, we're not doing therapy right now. We're talking about what makes us mentally healthy,
Right.
But like really, your prognosis is very outstanding, it seems like, given where you've been. And so I think that even without HEX, you have gotten the tools that you need in order to not go back to that darkest place. And so, but you did coincidentally get into HEX around the same time that you were having your turning point, right? And
Absolutely.
and now I really see for you in the future even a better high point than you've had in the past, and your high point was very enviable, and so I think you have even more to look forward to in the future. But I wanted to ask you, like, kind of a tough question here, like, what happens to your mental health if the price of HEX goes down and crashes?
Well, it goes right with it, Matty. No, it's it's inevitable. The price will dip. It will go down. And that's where faith comes in, so that's an opportunity to buy. First of all, I hope I have some more money when that happens so that I can get in. Maybe I can onboard my family members during that time. But realistically, if the price dips down 50 to 80%, it's going to be something that I'm not going to love to see, even for a few minutes, even if for a few days. But I'm still going to have all of the money that I put into it. It's, I'm still going to be up. So it would have to dip down pretty crazily low for it to go.
It would have to be a super good buying opportunity, right?
Right.
Like, and I'm thinking though, like, what if it keeps pumping, right? Like we are guessing that it will, right? Because of the game theory, because when you lock up your coins become more scarce, right? And because locking your coins when the price drops protects you from selling low.
Right.
It protects you from yourself.
And also, I'm not sharing this information with a lot of people. I know we are out here now, but this is the HEX community that we're talking to. But I don't push this on anybody. I don't talk to my friends about it, other than a select few in which I know are interested in this space and have, basically this is something special right now, and I'm selfish still, right? So like you said before in tonight's show, I don't want everybody to know yet, because big payday is happening, and I'm selfish, and I got in for this for money, right? To make money. I mean, it's fun now, and I enjoy it like a video game, and I spend a lot of my time learning about it, and I truly feel like this is like collecting baseball cards as a kid for an adult. It's very engaging. It's something that I love, and I will love to share it with others. And I'm learning how to be not selfish. That's a terrible trait. It's a terrible defect of character to be selfish like that. So I have started to try to share it more and more. But people that aren't in the crypto community, they get lost very quickly, and a lot of the, what's Ethereum? Why do you have to buy it to get in? How long do they hold my money for before I can send it over? And, it's so many nuances and technological terms that the lay person is not familiar with, that, it's nice the way the community is growing right now. It's nice the way that people are building apps and websites and starting social network, content around it. Pretty soon there'll be a fiat on-ramp. You'll be able to buy HEX, straight with your debit card, as you can in some states now. Where I am, you can't do that.
It's interesting because HEX has magnetized only the people with the greatest attention span in crypto, right? Only the people who cared enough to, like, listen to Richard for so long, right? And to study HEX deeply. And so you have this core of people moving forward, and HEX is clearly going to change, right? Like after the big payday, there's no referral bonus. So it doesn't sound scammy in that regard, right? Like the referral bonus is a great idea if you hear it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here without it, you know.
But if you hear it and you don't understand it, it sounds bad.
Right. Right.
And
But it's how every business works. You know, every successful business has some sort of referral program to get their name out there, you know.
Well, like investment advisors, they like don't tell you, right, that they get kickbacks and stuff. Like
right.
And so when it really comes to people's wealth and their financial savings and energy going forward, I think like it's just HEX is kind of like on a trajectory to get a more simple, right? And that will attract a different crowd than it does now. And to get smart people in early and to, you know, be all able to create content in the beginning, I think is going to create a special outcome as well.
Right. If you have something special and you can create a barrier to entry that takes a certain level of commitment, and then those people that get in get the reward, not only monetary, but mentally, you know, spiritually, physically, that go along with that. And then that community can grow. You know, I could talk all day long about what I'm doing and you know, but it doesn't matter. Actions speak louder than words. So when my father and my wife, you know, tell me that wow, you look good, or you sound good, you know, like that's the actions speak louder than words. And
they notice how healthy you are.
Right. Absolutely. And so, you know, it's an amazing opportunity to be in this environment now when it's just taking off, you know, and it's up to us what we do with it. We have some guides, some people that have laid down some blueprints to follow, but the ability to adopt that 3G technology as far as cryptocurrency and see how we can build social capital through trustless decentralized time locking is amazing, you know, and it hasn't been figured out yet. You know, no one's really figured this out. It's such a huge change to the world, you know, to pay yourself, your future self now.
Yes.
And what does that do? You know, what does that do for you mentally, spiritually, physically? And then there's evidence of not just Richard, but the whole community of people feeling better, taking better care of themselves. And, you know, it's incredible. It really is. And go ahead.
Like I was loving everything you're saying. And I got so excited by this one memory I recalled. Like, so everybody in HEX who likes memes, I guess, right? Like knows about Peter McCormick, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
So Peter McCormick is somebody who snuck onto Richard's live stream when Richard was interviewing a bunch of people. I think it was Giacomo Zucco or whatever his name is, like a Bitcoin programmer. Richard had invited him to do an interview, and this guy just, instead of going on, he like stood Richard up, but he also gave the link, the private link to Peter McCormick, who like thought he was going to go on and expose Richard as a scammer, right?
Right.
And Richard put him to shame in ways that you can like only really appreciate by watching it, right?
Yeah.
Richard wiped the floor with this guy, who is a very respectable Bitcoin educator. Well, he's, I mean,
no, I know. I'm just, you know.
I lost so much respect for him that I wouldn't watch anything with him except Andreas Antonopoulos, which is like one of the first people who taught me about Bitcoin enough that I could really realize what Richard had a deeper understanding than anybody. And right. I've got books on my bookshelf here that Andreas wrote. Mastering Bitcoin, Mastering Ethereum. That's how I learned how to run a Bitcoin node, which proves to me what Richard's talking about, how Bitcoin has poor security and isn't scarce or immutable now, that we have something more immutable, with there being the possibility for Sybil attacks and that sort of thing would be pretty cheap to take Bitcoin down, actually. But the point I'm getting to is that, so Peter McCormick like snuck onto Richard's show, right, and made a fool of himself and was like acting really childish, like yelling over Richard, like, scammer, you're a scammer, you're a scam, like, you know, scam. Like more than cringe, right? Like it was unbearable. Right, and
with nothing to back it up too, nothing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and Richard made logical point after logical point. Richard kept his cool too. Way better than McCormick did, right? And so this was a telling moment, right? This was one of many moments, right, where we see Richard becoming, right, like the hero that he is to us, and differentiating himself from the rest of the educators in the cryptocurrency space. So we had just been talking about how this is kind of a new idea, this idea of paying yourself to be healthier and to use HEX as a way to improve mental health and to build better mental health on top of this idea that, okay, we're programming ourselves to like save for the future, right? And then that's the first application of HEX, and then the next applications after that, right, that are going to be built on HEX, I hope, are other ways that people will be able to make promises to themselves in the future that they stick with. Right. And so I was going to say, as far as I know, I am the first person to promote this idea of enhancing behavioral health with cryptocurrency. And but when Andreas went on Peter McCormick's show a couple months ago, maybe it was a little bit longer, they were both so close to coming up with the idea. At the very end of the stream, right? Like McCormick is saying, well, yeah, like they're just BSing at the end, right? And which is kind of weird to hear Andreas, like, you know, talk about something other than like all of his great ideas, right? And I mean, I really believe that he just hasn't done his homework on HEX. So they're BSing, like McCormick is saying, well, you know, what are you doing next? Or what do you do in your personal life? Like, you know, what are you working on? And Andreas says something about, oh, I'm trying to eat healthier. And so McCormick says, well, I'm losing a bunch of weight now that I'm not drinking, he said. So then Andreas says, wouldn't it be great if we could gamify health? And they've both just been talking for an hour about cryptocurrency, and neither one of them puts it together.
Right.
It's just so funny to me that they had this moment where they both just like pause and like there's nothing being said, and like you could tell neither one of them like puts it together that what they've just been talking about for an hour would go perfect with what they're doing in their lives, right? Like,
well, it's because Maddie, it's when you told me about it, it was such a huge idea. Like it was, it's right there in your face. It's very difficult to understand, but like it's like not, you know, you hear about cultures that a plane flies by and that becomes their god. You know, they don't know what an airplane is. They have no point of reference. It's too much for them to see, right? Yeah. And that's what it is. Like when you told me your perspective on how HEX, you know, what its influence was in taking me from the absolute bottom and bringing me back, you know, helping bring me back and work on myself and care about the future. And then you brought it to the next level and talked about mentally, physically, spiritually, you know, gamifying that, using the tenets of what HEX is, building it on HEX and the game theory. It's like so perfect for right now, for this time, you know, when we want to give the power back to the people, and people
Yes.
stop working, 60 hours a week, breaking their backs or having, nothing to show for it at the end of the day, or very little, and being unhappy,
Yes.
and the idea is so powerful to me that, I know that you're onto something great, and I love exploring it with you. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll be showing more and more on this show about how it's going to work. There's already an app built in HEX, right? Where you get your badges, like I was talking about earlier. You may have been having internet difficulties, but I was talking about how there are these different leagues that exist, different
oh yeah,
leagues under the sea, right? And so you've got depending on how much you've committed to your future self and how much money you've sent to yourself in the future, decides what character you get to be, which group you are. Are you a shell, or are you a shrimp, or did you work your way up to being a whale, right?
Right.
Which is a crypto term to mean like people who have so much crypto that they are giant and they can move the market, right? If they move the market,
splash, one big splash. Yeah.
HEX really is a free market, which I don't think has truly existed for many years, since we had kind of gold and markets that, I mean, when you get an unregulated market, that could be in trouble, right? Like that's not always a good thing. And regulated markets, if they concentrate too much power, become corrupt, right? Like you get supercomputers that are sitting right next to the stock exchange, seeing what you're wanting to buy and then buying it themselves and selling it to you at a higher price. Like the stock market is rigged. Like like nobody argues with the fact that what is that called? Like what kind of trading is that when you
sounds like micro arbitrage.
I
don't know the term though.
I can't think of it, but
yeah, I mean, I know you're checking.
50% of trades in the stock market are computers, bots. Right. Okay, and like if you think about it, why is it not 60%? Because the bots are trading 1-to-1 with the humans. It's right. Like so rigged. It's sad. It's an outrage. It's, what do you mean? Like, that's not a free market. That's not democratic. That's corruption.
Right.
And it's banks get to create, trillions of dollars worth of debt. It's, go ahead. Like,
no, I was just going to say, it's heartbreaking to go through too. I mean, that 1% of people might make money in the stock market, the other 99% lose it. And then if you invest with a financial investor and he takes care of you, you're investing in those bots, taking money from all the guys that think they're going to provide for their families, and it's it is a casino, right? And it's a rigged casino.
Yes.
It was very entertaining for me to learn about and to be a part of, and I'm grateful for my experience in it, because otherwise I wouldn't appreciate HEX to the level that I do. And yes. what got me one day, right? Like for me, I was like, all right, I'm taking all my money out. Like I had purchased some HEX, but like while I was watching Richard's video, and he's like, aren't you tired of day trading? Aren't you tired of getting wrecked, of being up, all the time and not eating poorly, sleeping poorly, having poor relationships? He's like, just, I think it might be worth you looking into HEX, not talking to me, talking to everybody. And he's, no financial advice, but, I looked into HEX and not having to spend my day watching all these different metrics and checking into all these different news outlets. I have time to talk to you. I have time to talk to my family. I have time to be with my animals. It's incredible. I can create now. I'm free to create.
I was just thinking this earlier today. I don't spend all my time reading articles about why the price of something went up or down. I don't need to do that anymore.
Right.
I don't need to read the lies, really.
Right.
Because I know why things go up and down is because they're rigged, and I know why HEX goes up.
Right.
Because it's got good game theory, because it rewards saving. Let's take a look here. I'm just so excited to be having this conversation. I'm just like, I didn't know I was going to share this today, but I love this visualization. Here is silver. Can you see that little tiny?
Yeah.
That's $100 billion worth, right?
100 billion.
100 billion.
Okay.
With a B.
Yep.
And then here's cryptocurrency, right? At like 250 billion ish, right? And so that's not a very big thing. Military spending, right? The US budget deficit for 2020. This has been updated since I saw it last. The physical notes and coins, right? Okay, does it say how much that is?
I can't read it. Just
what's our scale? 100 billion. Okay, well,
100 billion.
Then we keep going. Fed's balance sheet. That's what. How much has been added? Oh, in January, just alone this year, right? Was all this pink right here. The money supply has gone up like 25 or 30% since COVID, right? Here's all the billionaires in the world, all the gold in the world.
Yeah, and the consolidation of wealth. We just watched it, and look at all those companies that are just what you have right there. Look at those companies, the amount of money that they control and the amount of influence they have, to drive this consumer culture that we live in. So it's such a freeing feeling for me to have a little bit of money and not go out and buy one of those brands that was just on the screen, not spend money with them, because I'm paying myself down the road. And that's way more exciting. I'm getting something now and, and again later. What is that one?
Global real estate. That's how many hundreds of billions of dollars it's worth, right? Global wealth. North America, right? Here we get to the derivatives market, okay? So now we're talking tens or hundreds of trillions of dollars. A derivative is a contract between two or more parties that derives its value from the performance of the underlying asset, index, or entity. One example of a derivative is betting on the temperature of a certain city in the future, and then you can like hedge your energy bill to that if you're like a big corporation or something. But it's shadow bank. Well, it's money creation is what it is that the banks are allowed to do that really we're going to have to pay for someday, because look at all these hundreds of billions of dollars, right? So the notional value is 1 quadrillion.
Wow.
Right?
Larger
a high-end estimate.
Every other market. It's larger than every other market. It looks like it might even be larger than all of them put together by how many that is. I don't know. I'm just looking at that graph, and that's
this is the derivatives market is part of what caused the 2008 crash that we're still recovering from, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The reason why
bundling mortgages and
why people aren't prosperous, really.
Yeah.
Why regular people don't have more money to it was always thought with technology that people would have to work less and that they would experience a higher and higher quality of life. Look at where all the money's going. All the money is going to these companies. It's centralizing. So that's why we need crypto, is to decentralize.
Right.
make it fair again. And so these are issues that where even from a policy perspective, right, we're going to be able, as people who understand HEX, right, and people who are on the cutting edge of cryptocurrency, everybody in HEX, greatest minds from Bitcoin, right, have gotten rated and are here now, ready to build something better.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. You know, the fractional reserve banking system, that's a scam. It's a quasi-governmental Fed, you know, that bails out the banks that take all of our money and then lend it out at a 9-to-1 ratio. And then
money
they need
creation.
to be bailed out while we as a public are not, and are, you know, being heavily taxed and working. And, you know, that's what's truly exciting, is that if this could all be figured out and we could work for ourselves, you know, thankfully it is. It's HEX, you know, and it's not a sales pitch. It's just a mechanism that works, and the proof is in the pudding, right? Actions speak louder than words, and
That's correct.
I can't wait to see what else comes from this technology, this 3G crypto. I can't wait to see where it goes. You know,
can I tell you about the IMF?
Yeah,
I got a
absolutely.
bone to pick with these people.
Absolutely.
So the IMF is the International Monetary Fund, and they're basically like part of the muscle of the global financial system, right? Like,
Yeah.
so the dollar is actually how the United States fights terrorism more than soldiers. Is they control the transfers between all banks in the world. If a European country wants to trade with Canada, they have to do it in dollars, even though they both have their own currency.
Say that again,
right?
Maddie. If they want to what?
So if one country wants to trade with another, they have to use the dollar.
Okay, gotcha.
As their exchange, even if they have their own currency, right? And so that funnels all money in the world through the Fed. I mean, even at like the $10,000 level, the Fed has to approve it to send money anywhere in the world. And so these people are centralizing too much power. And so when they ruin the global market by intentionally loaning out too much money to people to buy homes, right? The 2008 financial crisis, they lend out too much money to buy homes. The price of homes goes up, right? And then now you default because they gave you a loan that you couldn't afford and they knew you couldn't afford. And then now you owe them all of the money that asset bubble created. Like now there's, when they gave too many loans, that like made the housing market a bubble, and now people owe them like the bubble prices, right?
But they don't own the asset anymore.
Yeah. It's like a total scam, right? And then they get bailed out by the government, like their friends, and like so it's like, you know, I think like the scam of 2008, I think they got paid like 3 times for robbing people, right? And so if that wasn't bad enough, I mean, they do this all around the world. And so
3 times, Maddie, because they sold the house, they sold the bundle in the derivative market, and then they were bailed out in the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Genius and evil. And I mean, this isn't even like the worst crime against humanity at all, right? Because when the U.S. prints more money, it comes out of the pocket of everybody else in the world, right? Because all currencies are pegged to the dollar, are like denominated in U.S. debt, right? All trade in the world is the dollar is the world reserve currency. Now, I just love telling this story because it's so true. So this article really doesn't tell the whole story, but so this was announced like what 10/15, right? So the middle of last month, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, announced that they are going to have a new Bretton Woods moment. What's Bretton Woods, right? Bretton Woods is, you know,
up in New Hampshire, yeah, the Conference of Bretton Woods, where they set monetary policy through the IMF so that they could send in economic hitmen all over the world to provide loans for underdeveloped countries. Am I getting close?
Yeah, the U.S. Actually poisoned the guy who was speaking against them that said that the world reserve should be gold. And so he couldn't give his speech. And then they got all the other world leaders drunk and made them sign a contract they don't understand. And enter U.S. dollar hegemony for, you know, and domination, right? Like what better way to hack like all the value in the world than by like hacking the people, right? And getting them drunk and like having them sign something like, oops, right? So so that happened, and at the time the US was promising to stay on the gold standard, which they broke, and probably knew that they were going to break, because I mean, why wouldn't you? But so the IMF, they're like the muscle, right? They go into countries that are like struggling. It's kind of like the housing bubble. Like the IMF goes in and says like, oh, you're going to default on your US loan that we gave you? Like, oh, we'll give you more US loans, right?
Yep. Just give us all of your rice or plantains or cocoa, you know, at a discount.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now the IMF can go in and say, you have to change your politics. You have to tax your people higher because you have to pay back America for the money we loaned you and we knew you couldn't pay it back. Yep. You have to give us your future infrastructure, right? It's like pretty smart, right?
We're going to bring in Halliburton. They're going to build the power lines. They're going to, well, not Halliburton, but companies like that, you know, they're going to facilitate all of the infrastructure, and we're going to give you this highly ridiculous interest rate that you can never pay back. Or
the opposite, even if it isn't exorbitant, right? Then like interest rates can go higher. And that's the reason why HEX is so important, right? Is because the world is drowning in debt, right? Banks can't pay you a 5 or 10% interest rate for saving your money like they used to. Right. Their plan, which is happening in Japan, is to give you a negative interest rate, right? So it forces your money into stock markets and keeps funding the whole, terrible process. It's it's a dumpster fire. The whole world economy is like just. It could be so much better if you were rewarding people for saving, because then people would act right.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks, HEX. Like we're getting 30% variable APY, right?
Right.
How does that feel?
The staker class. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible. Even, that's what helps with the price dip, going back to before is, I just onboarded my father, and we bought it, the dip the other day, and it was nice that immediately, it went up, and then today it dumped. And, that would be highly concerning for me as a stock trader, right? I would, as somebody that's weak-handed, I would maybe sell, right? I buy high, I sell low, I lose all my money. I don't have to worry about the price of HEX today because I'm part of the staker class. And when a dip like that happens, from what my observation has been, is there's a lot of end staking going on. As it goes up, as the price goes down, the game theory involved, people trying to make money, people trying to get out because they don't understand the long-term.
And what happens when people emergency end stake?
I mean, besides wrecking themselves, they increase the wealth of the staker class. And
they pay us.
They pay us.
Yeah.
And
bad behavior pays good behavior.
They're not paying a bank. They're not paying the fees to the bank. They're paying the fees to all of us who believe in this mechanism. And essentially we are the owners, of this mechanism because we are the investors. We have, T shares, and T shares are only going to get more rare as time goes on. And already in my short time, in less than 90 days as a member of the HEX community, what I've seen, what I've observed with T shares, it's one of the things that you don't get into right away. It's when you're first getting into it, I kind of didn't even care. you know, and I just watched my interest, and I was still making big stakes and long, and then I realized how important it is to actually figure out the amount of T shares I'm going to get and how rare those are going to be. And it's amazing, you know, that I'm already seeing the benefit of getting in as soon as possible because the T share price never goes down. And I know it's talked about a lot, but it's one of those things that coming on is maybe a little bit more difficult to understand.
I'm making a banner to emphasize what you're saying.
Yeah, so you know, I onboarded my father the other day, and he got 35 T shares, which is pretty good for a decent investment, you know. And it's hard for me to even explain what that means, other than exactly what we just said. That when somebody emergency on stakes, you know, we get those shares. What's hard to fathom is that those T shares are going to, if theoretically, if the price goes up to 5 cents. And you're paid, you know, 1,000 hex per day because people end their stakes through your interest, and now all of a sudden the price is 5 times what it is. You essentially, in a theory, have, you know, just in theory, have 5 times as many T shares because you bought them when they were 20% of what the price is now, and that's
your share of compound interest goes up as a multiple, right? Or like the value of your hex and the share of future hex compound interest is a function of many different things, right? It's a function of how long you stake. It's a function of what other people's behavior is in the system. It's a function of what the USD price is. It's but there's one thing that we do know is if we look at the system in terms of hex, that the interest that's paid only goes up. Like the earlier you get in and the longer you stake, the better. So I think it's hard for us to explain, right? Like compound interest itself, let alone T shares. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why you know, we got Einstein, right? Like he's kind of the man. You know, and so the way he explained compound interest is it being the 8th wonder of the world.
Right. Yep.
It's just like, okay, that's like too hard to understand. Well, okay, 8th wonder of the world, got it. You know,
this is how big it is.
It's like Bitcoin's 1G, Hex is 3G. You know, what else do you really need to know? I mean, there's lots of fun things to know, but that's all you need to know to use it and to get the surface level.
Right. To know that the mechanism's at work and you trust in it. That's what I did. I thought, okay, this, like I said, I was drawn to it. It was magnetic. I was at bottom and I invested a little bit. And then there's enough information out there if you want to digest it slowly, or if you want to take it in all day, every day, and all day, every night. I mean, there's a lot to this whole infrastructure, to this whole engineered mechanism that is Hex. And I am continuously surprised, you know, by, in a good way, you know, it's like I said before, I feel like it's like a video game for adults, like playing Magic cards or collecting baseball cards. Like it has that collectability in a sense. Like I am so proud of the Hex that I own. It's not something I want to sell. When my stakes are ending, you know, I'm going to reinvest my principal, like Hexo says, you know, in the method that he structured. I can't imagine getting out, you know, and just not having stakes. So it's something I like to collect, and that thing that I collect is increasing in value while the share price constantly goes up, which means my compound interest is worth exponentially more as time goes on and more people buy in. And there's so many moving parts to it that, you know, that's why it's difficult to onboard somebody, because I've heard the guys on Discourse talk about it. Like you can quickly get into too much information. You know, it needs to be shared with just a select few people right now who trust you, you know, to trust me enough to see the difference in me and to see that I'm not, you know, I'm not worried about my financial insecurity anymore, like I said. And what is the mechanism that's causing that? Well, it started with HEX. You know, God works through people. People created this system. This system has a tongue-in-cheek name that reached a person like me when I was at bottom. And it helped pull me out of the rut that I was in and allowed me to plan for my future. And I can't say it enough how grateful I am to the community and to Richard and Hexo and Discourse. And, you know, it's a beautiful place.
Yes, for sure.
What do you have
put.
there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's scroll the banners. I meant to put this up earlier. We got the suicide hotline for those people who are needing help now with that. I think we've seen all the other ones.
Yeah, and it's, you know, that's a tough place to be because you feel like, why would I call someone and tell somebody? You know, I don't. It's a leap of faith to call that number. You know, and what that number represents is there's somebody on the other line that's trained to talk to somebody, that's willing to listen and express. You can get your problems out. You can talk as much as you want and really work through something. And to have somebody there that's lending an ear, that actually cares, that's going to give you some good feedback and help you get on the right path. You know, there's nothing wrong with calling that number. And as somebody that used to maybe look down upon that and then be suicidal myself, that's a great resource. Any resource that's willing to help a person when they're feeling at their lowest and not thinking straight and really being insane, thinking about ending their lives. You know, that's a great number to call. That's a great resource.
Many famous people throughout history are simplified into being all good or all bad, into being either great or weak, right? And there's a book that was written that really made me reevaluate that or notice that, which is it's called, I think it was called A First Rate Madness. And it told the story of actually Abraham Lincoln was highly suicidal at multiple points in his life. And I mean, to the extent, right, that he was wandering the woods with a shotgun, ready to, you know, end his life. And so he actually got, there weren't institutions at that time that he had access to, but it was like a man and a wife, you know, who were older than him, and they like basically took them into their home and locked him in a room, you know, and helped him improve his mental health. But you know, even people who have changed the world, right, have had major struggles with mental health, with depression, right, with suicidality. And so it's up to you know, other people to help take care of each other, right, and to be there for each other. And so I think we're really lucky to live in a time when there is help available.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. It's
hey, oh, sorry.
Nice. It's nice that it doesn't. There's something beautiful about it being a stranger too. You know, like when you get into an IOP program, an intensive outpatient, or you go to behavioral therapy in a group setting, or you call this hotline. Like I used to think that how could I put my stuff out there to a stranger? You know, why isn't my family helping me? You know, why wasn't somebody else that's close to me fix me? And it's amazing what an objective counterpoint can bring, and somebody that has experience. So, you know, this idea of a stranger helping me is so foreign that it was very hard for me to accept. But it's actually what got me on my path of sobriety, was being willing to ask for help because
Yeah.
there's people that are willing to help, and they're not going to come help you if you don't ask. You know, it's all about you taking that leap of faith and just reaching out to somebody and asking, and you'd be surprised by how quickly a stranger can become a friend. And, you know, not through necessarily the National Suicide Hotline, but on that hotline, they will help you out as though they really truly care about you, like a family member, or they wouldn't be on that line.
I don't always think highly of Facebook because of how they sell out for ads and centralized power. But I did hear Mark Zuckerberg speak once about specifically addiction and how, I mean, he was like, maybe just like trying to like manipulate people into like doing more stuff on Facebook, but he was talking about how like people need community, and
Absolutely.
that's one thing that they were trying to do on a certain platform is like create places for people to come together. Now we know better now, right? That there are other places for people to come together other than on platforms that spy on you to sell you ads.
Right.
But I think like wherever you can find your community, and to be looking for that, to be looking and reaching out, like for example, I a lot of times in my work will be teaching adults how to make new friends. And this is not an easy task for an adult who is never had an addiction and who you know doesn't come from an environment that makes them you know less mentally healthy, right? And so like this is an extreme challenge for anyone. And but the equation is really easy. Is you stay busy with healthy activities. You build your hobbies and interests, and that's how you connect with other people. A lot of adults take the shortcut to making friends, and they use substances to calm their anxiety, right? Or to take a shortcut that way by meeting people at a bar, or even if that's not their usual thing. But it turns out that not only for people in recovery, but anybody who wants to be healthier, there are other ways to make friends as an adult. The equation is you have to keep going back to the same place, you know, and go a little bit outside your comfort zone, and then you meet up with people one way or another. And there's some great guides on that. Making and Keeping Friends, a self-help guide by Substance Abuse and Mental Health organization. We can link that in the chat, I believe.
Go ahead, Maddie. While you do that, I just wanted to say we kind of breezed over it because we were, you know, we had talked before about, you know, how we became friends, like, and it happened. So, you know, the first night that we talked, you know, to get to know one another, we ended up talking for 5 hours on the phone. And like, that's kind of funny to me as an adult man. I felt like a schoolgirl, right? And like, you know, I'm meeting this guy that I really have a lot in common with, and we're talking about all these complex ideas and being really honest with one another. And it was, you know, just amazing how time flew. And that's a gift. You know, it's really a gift when that happens, and it comes from what you just said, that we wouldn't have met if both of us weren't so into this community, so, you know, hungry for information, that we're a part of a chat in a live stream, right? To talk to other like-minded people. Like, who would have thought that you could meet an actual friend as an adult in a place like that, you know?
Yeah. It's awesome. It's you know, it works if you work it. And I found a guide that helps with what we're talking about. You know, exactly what you and I did, which is we built our interest and hobby, right, in cryptocurrency, and we kept going back to the same place, right? We kept going back to the same community of people making content, right? People in HEX, the Hexologist show, right? That goes every night. The Discourse Syndicate.
It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah.
and then we connected that way, and it's like an awesome thing. A friend is an awesome thing to have, I think.
Right.
So there's been research, right? And it was found at very prestigious universities that not having 5 close friends is as bad for you as smoking an extra pack of cigarettes a day or drinking an extra pint of liquor.
Wow.
That's how people die faster.
Yeah.
They have lower quality of life. Like, statistically, because of major life transitions, most people lose half of their friends every 7 years. And so, because this was research, I mean, it was even, there was an operational definition for what is a close friend. And a close friend, if we're asking researchers, is somebody that you have a deep conversation with at least once every 2 weeks.
Right.
And so there's a frequency, right, and a depth to what a friendship is that can be so good for your mental health.
Yeah, frequency, intensity, and duration, right? 3 very important things that have a lot to do with mental health. And it's cool that, I never heard anything like that, but it makes total sense. It's great to reconnect too. Like as time goes on, I reconnected with some old friends, and like you pick up right where you left off. And, that is what makes a good friend, is you can talk about nothing, and there's moments of silence where like there's no anxiety because it's okay. Everybody's comfortable. And I'm very grateful. I keep saying the same thing. I'm just very grateful to have been on the ride that I've been on, and to have my mind be opened, and to have God in my life. And because, I'm doing that, and I'm doing the next right thing, and I'm taking care of myself. The feedback, the reward is more than the work that I'm putting in. It's true reward. It's, you go to work and you get a paycheck and you always feel shorted, but now, we spend some time talking, and we make some plans, and we create some content, and, the expectation of money is not a part of it. We're doing it because we love this, and there's no better feeling in the world than having the ability to create and then going out and creating, and you and I were talking about our process, each one of us, how we kind of, like, if I make music or I make art and you write, and also do those same things that I, make art yourself. In that process, for me and for you, when you write, we throw it all out there. It's like, it's a mess, and you just get everything out there, and then you refine it little by little and more. And, it's great to start this, a new endeavor with such a incredible community around us, and to have enough content to keep us busy, and then to utilize the skills that each one of us has to create more content, and that ripple effect, that network effect is just amazing. I mean, I don't think Hexo really will ever know, how important he's been to me in my life. And Richard, Hexo decided to make a show that, I can rely on every day, that I know I can check in there. He's going to be in a really good mood. He's gonna, share some news about Hex. There's gonna be
he might even have a cute baby to put on stream.
Yeah, and like to see exactly that, to see like his baby, it's like, it's incredible. Those guys, Hexo, Discourse Syndicate, like they've been my friend. I didn't need to talk to them. I just needed to join the community, and it's what they've given me is incredible, and I'm just so thankful to, possibly give that back to somebody someday, that hopefully, this testimony will come through and maybe hit somebody right when they need it. Maybe that national suicide hotline number being there will be there right when somebody needs it. That's incredible.
HEXTherapy.Live.
HEXTherapy.Live and HEXshow.com.
That's right. So for those just listening and not watching our beautiful faces on the screen, we have loaded up here a document that looks like it's been through a lot and like scanned in a few times. I don't know why SAMHSA like took down their original document, but here it is, Making and Keeping Friends, a self-help guide, right? And so one of the ways that we can make and keep friends is by building our hobbies and interests and connecting with communities. So I'm glad we were able to cover this, and we are coming to you live from HEXTherapy.Live and HEXshow.com. Now, we've covered a lot, haven't we?
We have. It's nice to get into some stuff that we didn't plan, that we didn't have a game plan for. It's good to talk to you always, Maddie. So I enjoy it.
So it seems like we're at a natural point here. We've been going live for what, 2.5 hours now.
Yeah.
And so
we're halfway through.
Give the people. Yeah, that's right. I mean, now have people done a 24-hour stream before in Hex or not?
On their first real run, I don't know. So should we give it to them? Is that when the giveaway is at hour 24?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think they might have, but I'm not sure if they have. So we'll have to ask. We'll have to competition can create great things if people are doing it in a good manner. So maybe we'll give some competition here. But as people can see, I mean, we don't have our tips turned on, so we're here just for the just for the people. And the other members of the HEX community, when they get their tips, right, they are investing back into the community, and they're making awesome content. We are very lucky to have the magnanimous leaders that we do. So we've never done a giveaway before. We've never done a live stream before. So this is the part where like I'm gonna do like, how does this work? How does this work?
As far as the giveaway?
Yeah.
Is there a chat going in either D-Live or YouTube that you'd be able to?
Well, it's not pulling through to StreamYard, but maybe that's because it's all happening in D-Live. I mean, I think we're still live on Hexologist. Yeah, we are. That's cool.
Okay. If anybody's out there and they want to let us know that they're a part of the show right now, type into the chat. Maybe we can see it. If we can see it, then we can perhaps proceed with the giveaway. If we can't see it, if nobody's in the chat right now, then it's going to be difficult to perform this giveaway. So I would.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the other day when we had like hundreds of people watching, and it was showing us that there were only like 20.
Right.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go to D-Live. Oh, hey. Oh, this is cool. There's a chat going on in Hexologist.
Oh, okay. I only have StreamYard open, so I think it caused a connection problem when I went there before. So let me get.
Whoa, there's like tons. Okay, so like, yeah, there's tons of like, somebody just said like Sammy Chica Bow Wow said 24-hour stream ? Weren't we just talking about that like 2 seconds ago?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, she's watching. That's awesome.
So it's on you. Would I see this in Hexos?
Yeah. And then somebody said, "Amen, brother. I'm so glad you're on the narrow path." And then somebody said, "I hit 90 days of sobriety a week ago." Wow, congratulations.
Oh, awesome.
Hexakin.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Good man. One day at a time. Keep it moving. Keep it going.
Yeah. They said, "I commend your honesty on this stream, and it's a blessing to have wandered on here to hear this."
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Wow, you guys, we had no idea you were commenting. We can't wait to hear from you,
I don't know why they're not forwarding.
Dude Hex said here. I think it's because there's like an RMDP server that D-Live wants you to go to D-Live and just do that. So they don't pull through like YouTube does. But
okay.
Let's see. Still calling him Matty Allen, LMAO. Okay, so yeah, since we haven't been looking at the chat, maybe we missed a bunch of it. The hair is interesting. Good stream, guys. Wow. Elf of Alvlorn. I've seen that name before. Definitely prominent Hex again.
Yeah, Maddie is shrimp farming. That's funny.
Hex user. What is it?
Maddie is shrimp farming.
Who said that?
This was back in Hexo's chat while his show was still on. I think I scrolled up too far.
Oh yeah, because like I exit because I couldn't connect, so people were saying that I like exit scammed the whole like Hex therapy video. Dude Hex says good story will help a lot of people. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Like we love the idea of helping people, and people have helped us, right? For me, I know it's not just been in Hex. Hex has been extremely helpful, and crypto's been helpful. And at the same time, there have been people throughout my whole life that have supported me, and shout out to my family and my friends and everybody in the Hex community. We're super blessed, I think, to be coming together in this way and being able to talk about mental health.
Absolutely. I second what Maddie said, not to say the same thing again, but that was well said, Maddie. I feel the same way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe, what do you have planned? Just,
so in,
I know you went over it when I was on, internet break. So, I just don't know how to.
Ooh, I got a fun idea. I don't like what if you wrote down a number that was in between like 1 and 100, and then like whoever guesses it first in chat wins the $200 hex frame.
That's a great idea. You got to guess the actual number, right?
Yeah. So like, if somebody just starts typing right now, but it has to be like separate comments. Like, so like, you could type 1 first, and then like you have to start a whole new comment to like type 2. Somebody said good idea.
All right, cool. So I have the number written down. It is a number
Okay.
1 through 100.
Yes.
It is relevant to money, potentially Hex.
Number go up. Oh, your number is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it's
that's a pretty big clue, I feel like.
It's a random number.
Okay.
At the same time, it has.
Somebody guessed 36.
No.
Okay. Good guess.
Good guess. I'll tell you what, though. That's not that's close, but that is.
Well, we're like, I don't even know if we should give any more clues. Like, we just want to see people like spamming us, right?
Right.
Some HEX-Live guesses 71.
Good guess. That's not the number.
Okay. I mean, 7 is a very lucky number, and 1 is the first number of them all.
What's amazing is when you guys hear what the number is, the fact that those are the first 2 guesses is pretty mind-blowing.
Okay. Oh.
No, you can't guess, Manny. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking of it. Your drive chat has lots of other people.
What's drive chat?
I don't know.
Oh,
maybe is it like
go to your
Twitter?
Go to your actual show and not through Hexologist, maybe?
Oh, duh. Like the patience that everybody's having, I feel like, is probably like awesome. So thanks for hanging in there with us while we figure this out. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll be back and doing it maybe better than this even. Whoa. Okay.
Oh, wow. All right, let me go from the top and see if anyone's got it.
Yeah.
You want
Hey, everybody.
Trustless
Thanks for
House.
joining. I can't believe you're so like subscribe if you don't mind. Like if people would subscribe to this and to YouTube, because we're really close to being able to name the channel on YouTube, and if we were able to get the name, you know, Hex Therapy or something, that'd be pretty cool. So, and then on D-Live, I think we get more clout if we have subscribers. So if like just 15 people could run over to YouTube, it's hexvids.com. We'll take you there, and if you hit subscribe, then we'll get up to 100 and be able to name the channel something other than like XY246. Like
they noticed that we're not paying attention to the channel. Just letting us know that we out here. Trustless, guess the number. It was 72. So
oh wow,
a couple people did guess that, but the first person to put it down was Trustless.
Oh, very cool.
Can you see it? I don't.
So
take my word for it. So the first two guesses on the other channel that we saw were 36, which is half of that, and then 71, which is within one. So
oh wow,
that was pretty wild.
Yeah. Now, Trustless, can you message me on Twitter or Telegram and tell me what your username is on one of those in this chat here on D-Live, so I can verify that it's really you. And then I'll be able to mail you this free hollow frame, or it's a hex frame.
So, Maddie, do you want to
anybody else who wants to order one, you can message me. You can go to tsharecoin.com and check out the fine print, and then I'll mail them out. Yeah, I have more. I have a lot more to mail out. I've gotten my supply in from the manufacturer of the coins that I trust more than other manufacturers. And
Maddie, can you go to the chat and see and scroll all the way up? Because the first number that I see is 67, then 11, then 555. Is that what you see?
No, the highest I see is like 45 by Swearworks.
Because it might not be Trustless, somebody's saying, and Trustless also
really?
said that it wasn't him or her.
Oh, okay.
Wrong, it was me. Stars 11 says, third from the top.
I'll bring up the T-share frame here and then we'll investigate this, but so people have something to look at.
Cool. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off when you're telling everybody about it.
Oh no, you're totally cool. Yeah, so the way that this works, yeah, you have the key filled out here, or you have it printed on the coin, and it's fireproof and flood-proof, and then now, so I'm pegging the price of Hex to 1.25 pennies. So that means if the price of Hex is below that, then you're getting a discount. You're getting get, I don't know, a 10% discount, 20%, whatever prices Hex trading below that. And that's just because I know that, to me, Hex is worth more than whatever it's trading at, and I want to show my faith in the community. And so it's 16,000 Hex, and there's instructions here for where to message me. And how do you get to this? You can get to this Medium article by going to tsharecoin.com. Yes. Somebody said it was Stars 11 that guessed 72 first.
Yeah, that's I said the same thing. It seems like Trustless said the same thing. So I thank him
Look
for
at
his
how
honesty.
honest the Hex community is. We love honesty.
Absolutely. Goes a long way.
Wow.
I wish that we would have known that the chat was going off over there like that. I apologize, everybody.
Yeah, there may have been so many beautiful comments that were left.
Right.
People telling their stories. We will do this differently next time. We will get with the experts and we'll find out how to pull the comments through, or we will let you know, at least if you can do it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, someone said they have been talking, so hopefully they were sharing some stories and commenting on us, and then that's great.
Do you think it's saved? Maybe there's a log we'll be able to go back to for like next show and feature people's comments. Or
oh, thank you.
There's been a lot of us telling you how great your story is. Wow.
Wow, thank you. That's incredible.
His story is great.
Really happy to hear that everybody connected with it. Thank you, guys. That's awesome to hear. Great to read.
Lots of comments.
I hope that there is a log, like you said, Maddie, because it would be cool to go back and see it. I don't have one. It only goes up to the numbers to me.
Okay. So stars 11, if you can message me on either of those places, t.me/Maddie all in, or is it twitter.com/@ whatever it is on Twitter.
I'll find it.
You just search for me.
Yeah, twitter.com/Maddie all in, MATIALLIN.
Awesome. Yeah, we're live. Okay.
Maddie, someone's asking you, did you see that? How did you first get in? How did you first get into Hex?
How did I first get into Hex? I've never been asked that before. I've probably been talking about Hex since I first discovered it, but I was just talking to people who just love me and like don't care about crypto. Let's see. Without like dropping the names of like any other coins that like I was into before this, I would say there was an influencer that I followed that like turned out to kind of like be kind of a bad actor, you could say. I mean, but he wrote a lot of really good articles, and so
Maddie, I'll be right back.
Okay, sure. And so I just got really into like reading more deeply because I got bored with Bitcoin, right? Like we all do. There's only so much you can learn. There's only, I got a bunch of books. I read all the books on Bitcoin. Like I spun up a node, and kind of hit a dead end, right? Like I got experience in crypto by in the first craze, right? Was that 2017? I was importing ASIC miners from China and selling them on eBay just to learn more. Like I didn't start following Bitcoin until it surpassed the price of gold. So that's what really signaled to me, whoa, this is something different. Like crypto has come of age. Like crypto is on my radar now because it was going above $2,000 at the time, or $2,500. Joe, stars 11 is asking in the chat how to get a hold of me. Could you
give out your phone
with
number?
that while I tell the tale of how I got into crypto. So what is an ASIC miner, right? Like that's something that secures the Bitcoin network supposedly, right? And it also secures Ethereum to some extent. So if we think of a CPU as the first generation of the brains of a computer, right? And then then GPU, or graphic processing unit, is the next evolution after a central processing unit that allows you to run multiple threads at the same time. What a ASIC does, that's an application specific integrated circuit. So what it's doing is it's running only one like function on a computer, but it's doing it trillions of times a second. And so in the case of cryptocurrency, what's happening is algorithms are being hashed. So it's just running a computation, whatever it is. And you know, we could have a whole class on that, but so I was importing these ASIC miners and just learning more about crypto, and then I was really focused on Bitcoin for a long time, and because that's where the thought leaders were, right? Like that's where the intelligent people were. And so the reason why I'm so confident that people who get into crypto in the future, like they're going to gravitate towards whoever the smartest people are in crypto, right? Whoever the people are who are investing the most of their time and their knowledge and their passion, right? And so that's going to be HEX. It already is to a large extent. There's, you know, now the centralized machine is moving into Bitcoin, right? And like Michael Saylor bought in. He is like this Fortune 500 CEO. He's the longest running technology CEO in history. He's been running his own like little micro strategy company for 30 years. And he's, I don't know, Richard calls him a bad man. And so we know that that's true because literally everything Richard says
is true.
Well researched, is true. Like, you know, and the only areas where we don't know is when Richard doesn't want to promote somebody, right? So he like doesn't give us the full story because it's for our own benefit. And but like Saylor does like a really good job of conning people into Bitcoin, and so I mean, I have thought about bringing like a pre-recorded video of him on this show and then like pretending like it's an interview and like playing a little part and then being like, and then like basically correcting him. And like, I don't know, the title of this segment is called like Maddie Allen finishes Michael Saylor's homework for him or something, you know, and like explains to him why all of his arguments, while they are great arguments for crypto, really, if he did the rest of his homework, would conclude that HEX is what he's really after, you know. So go figure, you know, like coming soon, you know, like I'm totally down to do that. I love, you know, showing people how this is a great argument, right? Like he can make really beautiful points and like he can sell a lot of people on an idea, but what he's going to be doing in the end is going to be sending people our way, right? Because he's going to get people into crypto and then people are going to keep learning. And so whether that's him or not is okay.
Maddie, I just
Trustless says follow on Twitter. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, it looks like the lemons were on, and looks like RG3 dropped a Ninja Guinea on us. How long
No
wanted to say
way.
that? Yeah.
What?
And there's a lot of
Oh,
other
thank
people
you.
a lot of people donated lemons and are still doing it. So thank you, everybody.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Are we official? Like, are we a real thing now? Like,
This was a lot of fun, Maddie. Thank you. I'm really happy we you know, that you reached out. We hit it off. I'm happy that I put myself out there to start, you know, and it's nice that all this can come from it, you know. I enjoy talking with you. Never mind the chance that maybe, like I said before, that somebody that really needs to hear this stuff can hear it in a timely manner and right when they need it. So
likewise. Well, we are going to want to hear from the people in HEX. And, you know, I would love if, and I mean this, like, this is the big call to action. Okay. If you have a story about how HEX helps your mental health, like, please message me. Like, if you want a t-share frame, like, it's fine. Like, don't get one, you know, like, I'm not even worried about that. Like, what's more valuable to me than your HEX, right? Or than your business is like your story, right?
Absolutely.
And so I would love, so I've got it up on the screen here. Don't send me HEX, send me your story, right? About HEX. And tell me how, like, you know, what was I saying? Like that you're, how are you paying yourself, right, to like be healthier? How are you becoming the best version of yourself possible because you're taking care of yourself for the future, because you are now in a community that you know is going to be like staying awesome for 15 years plus, right? And so hit me up, t.me/Matty Allin, MATIALLIN, or twitter.com/Matty Allin. Somebody says, it inspired a lot of people. I wish you guys would have seen the earlier comments.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish we could. Do you know if there's any way to, does anybody know if there's any way to see earlier comments, or are they gone?
I'm gonna go look in a web browser.
Okay.
They're not there in they're not there in the web browser either. Maybe it well, probably next time if we leave a web browser up, it'll probably be loading the comments all along, and then we'll
yeah. Then we'll be able to respond too as it happens, because it's, you know, kind of nice for the point of the live show. It's in a way, it's also the interaction, you know. It's too bad we missed that, but always next time.
That gives us a great topic for next time, right? Next time we will read your comments out loud of how HEX helped you, right?
Yeah.
And then it doesn't have to happen behind the scenes, right? Like in my DMs or something. Like, you can just come here again next week on Thursday and tell us your story. We will read it out loud, and we will look forward to that. If you want to send me your story before then, I'd love to hear it too. But I just get excited about the idea of sharing live with everybody and celebrating really the mental health that our community can create, right? Whether it's through the show, whether it's through HEX, whether it's by, you know, people creating health challenges with each other. We love it.
That's the plan. That's why we're doing it. It's a network effect, right? So we're hoping that we can touch somebody, have that person, you know, also share their story with us, and kind of grow this community like that. It starts with money, and then before you know it, there's mental, physical, and spiritual progress that's made. So you know, I love anything to do with HEX, and I would love to hear how it's changed anybody's lives. It's really awesome. So please do reach out, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So somebody says, both of you brought a lot of information and positivity. Yay.
That's awesome.
Okay, this next show that we do next week on Thursday, I think like is gonna go even better than tonight, because Joe Hexotic and I, we like just feed off of each other's energy, but when we feed off your energy too, that's gonna like
exponentially go up.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know what? For a long time, I thought because nobody was in the chat that we were watching, that simply nobody was there. So I just thought it was you and I for a couple
I have been
hours.
sad this whole time and thinking nobody was watching. Like, you have no idea how hyped I'll be. Like, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought maybe the internet, I lost everybody with the internet. I'm like, well, at least they can watch it later, on Twitter or something. They don't need to see the live feed, but then to see that there's people that were
Yes.
stayed the whole time, that's beautiful, guys. Thank you. That's very rewarding.
If you could see like our screen, like what it's showing us is that like it's been bouncing back and forth between like one person, two people, like the whole time we're just sitting here like, well, it was a nice try, like,
And we each knew that we had one at least one friend watching, so the people were watching were the people that we knew,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And yeah, it's wow.
Well, thank you for the ice cream. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It's kind of nice to see the contributions, and as long as there's put towards something that's for the community, I think that's great, because I know when I'm watching Discourse or Hexo, like I love to participate in that way. Like it's not
Me
a
too.
lot, the lemons, but it's just really cool. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy the process, and to be on the other end now. Wow, everybody's sending stuff. Diamonds, ice creams. Thank you, HexOG.
Whoa, thank you guys.
Swear
We appreciate the tips.
Trustless,
I didn't even have to take my shirt off. Like
Hex Live next week. That's really awesome, guys. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
I just want to say something about this picture. I think this picture might become like our little logo. But I think we might have to hexify it somehow, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like there are all these great inventions, right, that we can appreciate, right? At the beginning of the show, we were talking about the wheel and the internet, right? Like they're okay, and but they weren't understood in their time, and then they led to great things, and it took a while to really see where they were going to go. That's how it's been with Bitcoin, right? It took a while, and there was this narrative that Bitcoin's the next Bitcoin, that like that this isn't going to be another case of technology where it's just like you get the next version,
right.
And that's Hex proves that to be not true, right? And at the same time, I don't worry that Hex is going to get replaced by anything because of what we know about it, right? It's copyrighted, it's trademarked, the code is better than it has to be.
Yeah.
And it has a community of people that are the smartest people in Bitcoin, and they've been rated. And so so this little light bulb, it's like an invention, like Bitcoin got invented, right? And it's like it's the light bulb's like burning out and like catching fire, and it's like burning the entire world's energy for no reason, when we have a better system of staking through time lock and being honest that way, instead of having to be honest by burning electricity. So
Maddie, BSOT says nope, that we had 80 people watching the whole time.
Oh.
And then Swearwork says maybe Bitcoin candles blow out and Hex light bulbs glow. I thought that was pretty
That's
cool.
poetic.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great community. A lot of creative people. It comes out in just a comment, like that, as off the cuff comment, and it's that is very poetic. Thank you.
Can you imagine? Like, I am speechless. I'm shocked. Like 80 people who know about Hex were watching us tonight.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's
go ahead.
It was enough to help too, like to hope that somebody would be reached with two. To have a 40x in minutes is a true Hex, community. So that's incredible. Yeah, it's a lot.
I would trade like 80 people in Hex watching for like 80,000 people that like are
Bought a
are
ticket.
bad people.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You guys get it. It's the people who understand HEX are more with it. They're more hip. They're cooler, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I am exhausted by all of this excitement, and I believe if we keep going, then I will never sleep. And so, because I'll be too hyped up. So, we'll sign off now because, we'll be back. We'll be better than ever. We will learn how to stream. Somebody said learning how to stream is a process.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And thank you, Joe Hexotic. Joe, would you be willing to be my co-host?
That would be incredible, Maddie. I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you.
You're more than a guest to me. You're a friend and a co-host. I would be honored. So
thank you very much, Maddie. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it. This is exciting. We got a great week to plan and come back with some good content next week. Hopefully I won't have any internet issues. That was the way that it started for you to not be able to get on to Hexologist, and that was nerve-wracking for me. You handled it well, and the internet goes out. So it's a lot of fun, So it's got my blood flowing, that's for sure, in a very good way.
I have to emergency end my bladder now too,
Absolutely.
So, signing off for now. Joe Hexotic, Maddie Allen, HEXTherapy.Live, HEXshow.com. Catch us every Thursday. Steak well, my friends.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. Maddie, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Good night, brother.
Good night.